Oh, hello, folks. This is Steve AB4L. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Don't want to do a Biden. So you know nothing in this episode is a promotion nor is it a recommendation. And you know I'm a ham radio operator. So I have a license to transmit on certain shortwave frequencies and higher than that. Oh, actually some longwave frequencies. When I was a novice, way back, we didn't have any of the long wave stuff. But anyway, so in order to transmit, you have to have an antenna. My antennas are wire. They're made of wire. But not everybody's antenna is made of wire, especially if you're an AM radio station. Amplitude modulation, that's what AM stands for. I can remember the AM stations I grew up with back where I grew up. So I'm looking at slashdot.org today, and somehow this made the news. Now let me scroll down. Thieves steal 200 foot. Are you going to enlarge or not? Here we go. Thieves steal 200-foot tower from Alabama radio station. Actually, as I read this, something about it I went, huh? Not the theft part. WJLX, a station in Jasper, Alabama, was ordered to go off the air by the Federal Communications Commission. Now this actually is the part that I went, why? After thieves took the station's AM tower last week. Now, for some reason, they didn't know the tower was gone. Some of this they have both an AM and an FM station, frequency modulation, FM. From somewhere between 550 and 1200, or is it 1400, that's AM. And FM is 88.12, I don't remember, 108 megahertz. To replace the tower would be between 100,000 and 150,000. They don't have the money. The FCC also notified WJLX on Thursday morning that the station has to go off the air because of the theft, while WJLX still has its FM transmitter and tower. It is not allowed to operate its FM transmitter while the AM station is off the air. Now, they don't give any reason beyond saying that. I don't understand it. All right, I'm going to teach you something you probably don't know. Wikipedia knows about all American television and radio stations that have call signs. So I'll do a Google search. Now, I'm not promoting anything. This is that station's webpage. And when you go there on their page, this is where they have their version of the news. Today, the 8th of February 2024, Federal Communications Commission, FCC, has denied our request to remain on the air on 101.5 FM. Today, we shut down our transmitter and our programming will be streamed via the internet. You've noticed, haven't you, that even if you're trying to listen to a radio station like in Israel, you can't do it with a receiver, but you can, if they stream it online, you can, and occasionally I tune in. And our program will be streamed via the internet and our apps only until we can restore our 1240 AM frequency. That's the one that they had two different transmitters. An FM transmitter is not an AM transmitter. Two different sites, two different towers. Our programming will be streamed by the internet and our apps only until we can restore our 1240 AM frequency. Many have asked, how can we help? I'm not promoting anything. They don't have insurance and they need money. And then it says here, now we're going to get into this. On the 5th, 3 days ago, a 200-foot AM tower in Jasper has been stolen without a trace. In the cities, they come and they steal the wheels off your cars. They steal the catalytic converters. So if you cut up whatever structural steel there is in a tower, if there's somebody that will buy it. Now I'm going to repeat something that I said to a person day before yesterday. In the Middle East, this is what I learned in Israel, there's a very old saying. In the Middle East, there's a very old saying. And I'll say it to you in Hebrew first. Balayla yesh ruach ahad, aval ganav elef. In the night, there's only one ghost, but 1,000 thieves. I'll bet you that is at least somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000 years old, that saying. We're talking about the Middle East. Somebody went out to the tower site to clean it up, mow the grass, bush hog it, and there was nothing there. I don't know how they didn't know their tower. The thing about it is that they stole not only the tower, but the actual transmitter. So there was a shack. Ham radio operators, where their transmitter is, it's called the shack. Okay. Now I've bored you with that. So let's search on it again. Who knows if that picture is actually their tower? Now, right here is Wikipedia. And it says WJLX. That's the call letters of the station. And right there you can see it. It says 6 hours ago. Now, I don't know if, and you can see they have a Facebook page. Wikipedia, does it mean they updated it 6 hours ago or somebody rushed and wrote an article about it? So what you get, and just do a call sign of whom, a TV or a radio station that's near you. Wikipedia will have an article about it. WJLX 1240 AM is a radio station licensed to serve Jasper, Alabama. They got this call sign on January 29, 2008, when it swapped then sister station WL1. It's not unusual for somebody who owns a station to change call letters with time or have more than one station, but like this station is jazz, this station is country and folk, this station is Bible reading. So they go through the history of the call letters of the station and stuff like that. Now, their branding is oldies, And apparently when they're playing the oldies, they're on both the FM station and the AM station. Now, sometimes a company owns an FM station and an AM station, but they don't have the same programming. And this is a case where they're both stations are the same programming, oldies, music. And I'm guessing that's actually the reason why the FCC made them take the FM station off the air while there is no AM station. Because in all likelihood, the AM station was the foundation for the original license permission to have an FM station that has the same programming. Now remember, I'm an idiot running my mouth and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But all these kind of licensing and programming is, specifications, stuff like that is arcane, old, and complex. Sister station WJBEFM. This station, the AM station, first one on the air in 1957. That's my generation, but I didn't live in Alabama. As WARF. And then they go through the call signs. And they're allowed, and for the way they do it, 1,000 watts, 24 hours a day. There are different classes of stations. There's a few stations left that are known as clear channel stations. What does that mean? They're running 50,000 watts AM, and no other station in the United States is on that frequency at any time. You can have a local station, remember one that I grew up with, there was 200 watts or 250 watts. They had to go off the air. They would broadcast starting maybe 6 in the morning and broadcast through to maybe 10 p.m., but then they had to go off the air because there would be someone else within radio range, reception range, that was also on that frequency, but was permitted to go to higher power at night and be the regional exclusive signal on that frequency. And why would they do all this kind of stuff? Because a lot of people wanted to have radio stations, serve different audiences. We're a big country, but the FCC had to figure out a system of how to fit them all in. Because the AM band's not that big, and the stations are spaced 10 kilohertz each. And there's only just so many frequencies available. When my father was a young man, he used to listen to the radio station that was up on the mountain near the town, and then listen to the one that would go off the air at sunset. And then as the propagation went, I forget the call sign of this station, but it's still on in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, another one in Wheeling, West Virginia, another one in Missouri, and then finally he could hear it like 3 a.m. in the morning, Salt Lake City. A station in Salt Lake City. You listen to AM that way? I'm trying to explain to you what they mean by why certain stations on certain frequencies have to go off at night. Because that's when the AM frequency propagation is most likely. All right, now why am I on this page? One of the things that Wikipedia did for me is they said transmitter coordinates. And it takes you to this page. And this is at geohacktoolforge.org. Now, this lists various places you can go to, like Bing Maps or Google Maps. We're going to use Google Maps because they have Street View. I want to see the tower. map, satellite, terrain, street view, time lapse, Earth time lapse. Let's just go to the map. Now they already were starting to show me a map, but now here's Google Maps. Well, this is not very useful. Where's the station? Where's the station? This is no good. They're supposed to show me where it is. And they're not showing me. Why? Let's go back. Come on, stop screwing me up. Now we can see this, it's somewhere here, but let's try satellite view. Let's see if they'll give me the, there we go. They gave me what I needed. What's the matter with Google? They got a lot of clowns there. That's editorial comment. Okay, so this is where the transmitter is, and also the tower, because the transmitter shack would be close to where the tower is. Now, all I did was, what's the first thing I can see here is a landmark? A sewage treatment plant, a water treatment plant. Sewage treatment or a water treatment plant. How can I tell? See these things right here? We could go about 3 miles down there and I could show you some. For Ramseur. And it's located next to the deep river. Is there a river or something like that here? Let's look. Oh, Town Creek. Right there. Oh, do you think there's a relationship? Now this is called Plant Road. Now what do we think this is? What do we think, but right there, what do we think that is? My guess is it's a railroad. What's your guess? Looks like a railroad. Okay. We're still looking for the transmitter, aren't we? Okay, it's where the balloon is. What do we see? Now, you can replicate this yourself. We see the transmitter building. And we see something here that looks like a stick, and we see the shadow of it here. And it's in a clearing that's in the woods. And this is what's gone. Now, what are we interested in? Why are we looking at this? Well, that disappeared and nobody saw it happen. Let's see how convenient it was for the thieves. What we can see here is a dirt track. So it's not on a paved road. It's next to a railroad. It's next to a creek or something. There's some kind of pond here next to the, and there's some way of getting across the railroad tracks to the other side. That's what that is. Can you see it? And we don't know what this is next to the railroad tracks, but this is some kind of field that somebody works. It may be a farmer's field. And that's why they need to get across the tracks, because it's the only right-of-way to get there. Okay, so to get to the transmitter, they came off of this rough track down this grass track through the trees. And it's next to the creek, which goes by the water or sewage treatment plant. So now we go this way, And it looks like there's a warehouse there. It's a dirt track that doesn't go into the warehouse property. We can see a fence here and clearing. And then there's another track here. And if we were to just click on it, we aren't going to see a street view, but it does say Jasper, meaning Jasper, Alabama. And we can see there's a number on this building. So that's some kind of numbered building and possibly a residence. And this track ends up on something called Second Place S. And we can try to see if there's a street view. And there is. This is June 2022. Now, are all these vehicles here because the people work in the warehouse? Or is this someplace where, like, the bank seizes the cars because you didn't pay for them and they're in the parking lot ready to be sold? And don't know. My guess is this is the workers, because this looks like a big building. Now, there's something important. Oh, I can see it. Do you see this right over here? That looks like a tower. Is it in the right place? Let's turn around. Can we see anything else in the vicinity that looks like, no, that looks like it's in the wrong direction. Let's go out to the road. There's some kind of transmitting tower over here. There's a road here. Now this part is March 2014. And we can see the tower here. We can see a tower there. Oh, there it is. It's over here. There it is. Looking in this direction, if you remember the map, that's the correct direction to see the tower that doesn't exist anymore. It's faint, but it's right there. Remember, over there's the railroad tracks, and then a dirt path that comes back and ends up behind this warehouse lot and turns onto the street that came this way, and now we went back this way, and if we look in that direction. So this is probably about as close as we can get, and the view for this is a cloudy day in 2014. Now that we know we can see it from there, let's go back far enough. See, it's 33rd Street West. Oh, the second place is the name of the track. When you have a lot of roads in a small town, you give up trying to give names, especially if nobody's actually living on them. You just number them, even in a small town. Okay, now we just switched back to a newer view. There's the other one, and I can now just faintly see it here. And for whatever reason, I can't see it if I'm here. And that's, the person probably pulled in there to turn around. So if I go back here, which is a different time and camera view, and it's controlled access, all visitors must stop and sign in at the guard shack. I can see the tower right there. You can't see it. Now what am I doing? I'm using Street View to try to get a view of the tower. Is there any other possibility for a street view? How about the road that goes into the treatment plant? Let's see if there's, those roads are likely they didn't go down, but let's, oh, there is! You see what the problem is. So if I'm on this road, and I'm trying to see this, I'm looking into trees. So I have to go down here. And now this is June 2008. But at least we have a street view. But notice how fuzzy it is. So in those days, what we learned is that Street View was using the best cameras of the day, which nobody would use today. They don't, what we would today call very low definition. So we can't see anything with that. See, I'm just trying to get as close as I can, taking advantage of Google and using it for free. Oh, wait a minute. Is this an interstate? Is it elevated? We don't know. I haven't done this before. I think I can see it right there, but that's a guess. This is June 2024. I'm looking to see if I can see the tower. I'm just trying to see the tower that these guys stole. I'm looking in that direction because I believe that's the... See, they're going over a swamp. Can you see it? Can you see the swamp down in there? Alabama 4. All right, we can get off here. We can see the power pylons. We're looking off into the distance, and there it is. I'm guessing this is the tower, right there. I'm just having fun. Now, just in case you don't know what a transmitting tower might look like, let me show you one. Siler City, town in North Carolina. Let's go to the maps. Now, I live somewhere around in here, and Siler City's over here, and right about in here they're building a new silicon carbide plant, which is huge, and it's going to completely change the real estate values in this part of, in the Piedmont of North Carolina, because they're going to have all these people moving in to be engineers and all that kind of stuff. But Siler City, you've heard of that from the Andy's show from years ago, right? Why am I picking on them? The place I'm talking about is called Wolf Speed or something. That's incorrect. But so we go along the highway toward Siler City. And there's Hogslat, and there's the estate, but they're not showing what I want to show. So why don't we start in front of the SCCU? There it is. Now let's see if I'm going the right way. Let's go back toward where I live. And there's the church up there, up there. Okay, this is US 64, west of Siler City. This is Hogslat. North Carolina is big on producing hogs, among other things, and poultry and soybeans. We're almost there. What's this sticking up here on the left side? What's that? What's over here? What's this? Let me turn it. WNCA. Google search WNCA. Siler City. Tune in. Facebook. Wikipedia. Now, what did I say earlier? Wikipedia has a page for every United States call sign. WNCA, notice the NC, 1570 AM. It's the kind of radio station that, down in Alabama, is a radio station broadcasting news and talk format, licensed to Siler City, North Carolina. Stations owned by Chatham Broadcasting. Chatham is the next county. Oh no, it's that county. So they would just use the county name as part of their art. And local news and stuff like that. And it's on 1570 kilohertz, Chatham County, North Carolina. First one on the air 71 years ago in 1952. And transmitter coordinates are right there. Where do you think the transmitter is? 5,000. Oh, it was what I was talking about. Hang on. Look at this. 5,000 watts day, 280 watts night. Why? Because in the United States, there's probably there's a lot of stations that are on that frequency, and to keep them from interfering with each other, they have to lower their power so that their only real audience is ground wave local, Siler City. During the day, when there is no propagation by bouncing off the ionosphere, they can run higher power and cover more of the Piedmont of North Carolina. Can I hear them from here? Just a little bit, but not at night. Got it? Because it's about 20 miles away. So where do you think they are? Well, here's the station. Let's just turn around and look this way. That's what got lost in the night. In the night, there's only one ghost but 1,000 thieves. So I wanted to show you. Now, take a look at this. Why was this put here? Let me just go a little further. You see this building right here? That's the transmitter shack. You notice how it's right next to the tower? So, I had a friend who went to work for the telephone company, and one of the things he used to do is that he would go to a radio station. The radio station's in downtown of a city, a town, but the transmitter and tower are 10 miles away, out in the countryside. Why would you put a tower like that and have to pay high taxes right in downtown, other than human health concerns? You wouldn't. What you do is you find some wet, swampy, crap land and buy it and put your transmitter there. So your studio is 2 miles away, 10 miles away. Think of the difference between downtown Siler City, although they got their broadcast right across the street. And so the audio to go to the transmitter goes over the telephone lines, and it was FM and stereo. It was all big new stuff. And he would go in and balance their stereo telephone lines every now and then for their best sound on the air. The dedicated non-dial telephone line that ran from the studio building out to the transmitter building, 2 to 10 to 30 miles away. So, did I look this up ahead of time, or do I know that transmitter's there because I've seen it every single time I've gone to Siler City? You mean you would see it at night? Yeah. They have flashing lights on there so the airplanes won't hit it. Well, it's only 200 feet. What if it's a Piper Cub coming along low into a nearby airport? Don't want to get tangled up in the wires. Let's see if the Wikipedia's got it right. This is the last thing. So we're going to go to Google Maps map. Let's see how they do it. Did they get it right? Yes. Why? Here's 64. Siler City is eastward of the transmitter in this view. The studio building is on this side of the road, the same side as where they're building further down the new silicon carbide plant. And wait a minute. Now, what did I say would be the best kind of land to put an AM transmitter on? Not an FM transmitter, an AM transmitter. Did I use the word swampy? It's called, this creek is called Blood Run. What's one of the characteristics of creek beds running through the countryside? The water table is high. So here it's labeled WNCA, and right across here, where they have it, we can see the needle here, and this view must have been taken close to noontime because it must have been taken close to noontime because there's no shadow on the ground. Remember the other one had a shadow? Sun angle. Satellites using what light? Okay, so the Blood Creek runs here, and you can see this is just crappy land here. It's got an address, right? And here's the Deliverance Church of Christ, but they're right on the road. And this, I want to show you this building. It's had a number of uses. They say the Tar Heel generator and expert hosiery. Now these buildings have been, here's the brick part, that's the hosiery building. And now let's think about it. Do you see how this is made? And do you see how that building is made? I'll bet you they were built around the same time and maybe even by the same people. I can remember when I first came out this way that this was not in use. and that the far end was basically a warehouse, which it still is, but somebody's running an actual business out of it. But I can remember the door was open and you couldn't see anything in there. There was nothing in there. So I've been going by this for a long time. And that's the reason why I know where it was to show you. And this picture is up to date. It's August 2023, so it pretty well reflects what's going on. Does this surprise you that this is a church? Shouldn't surprise you. We got a lot of churches like that. We got a church like that 2 miles away on the way to the landfill. And the nice thing is, there's the transmitting tower. And there's a creek behind it, so it's got a nice water table that's high. For AM frequencies that have long wavelengths. Why would is this tower, my antenna, see my mind is wandering. My main frequency is in the 40 meter band, 7 megahertz. Calculate length of dipole antenna. Calculate length of half-wave dipole antenna. What's the formula? Half-wave dipole length. If you want to know it in meters, see, I said 7 megahertz, 40 meter band. You take 143 and you divide it by the frequency. If you want to know the length in feet, you divide it by the frequency. What's the frequency? If you use 468, you're dividing by the frequency in megahertz. 7 megahertz. Four, 6, 8 divided by 7. The antenna I use is approximately, I divide it by 7 megahertz, is between 66 and 67 feet overall length. What frequency did we say they were on? Oop, that's not what we want. What frequency did we say they were? Let's say it was, why can't I remember? WNCA, AM. $1570. How much is that? But that's in kilohertz. 1.570 megahertz. So we need 468 divided by 1.57. 468 divided by 1.57 megahertz. And their antenna needs to be 300 feet long if it were an antenna, wire antenna like mine. For the way they're doing it vertically, it only needs to be half that height, 150 feet. Do we think when we're looking here, we're seeing something that's 150 feet? The answer is no. It's more like 70 feet. So there are ways that you can add something near the bottom that make the antenna look longer to the transmitter in the shack here. And if you think I'm wrong about that, would you say that that building peak of the roof is, let's say it's 10 feet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, it needs to be 150 feet, but it's only about 100. I said 70. How can there be so much of this crap crammed in here? I'm just having fun. Because I saw something on Slashdot where these poor guys with their Radio Shack transmitter and antenna out in the middle of the worst possible land they could get to that's swampy right next to a river, so it's a good antenna location and has a very low, the land is not useful for anything else, so the tax base is extremely low, and they're able to buy it for cheap because it was in the middle of the woods that nobody wanted. It was also hidden, and they had no trouble taking the antenna down undetected and sneak off in the night. In the night, Balayla yesh ruach echad aval ganav elef. In the night, there's only one ghost, but 1,000 thieves. And on that note, this is Steve AB4L. Just having fun, saying see you in 73.